Welcome back to another edition of 5 Minute Salute, where we have a chance to interview watchstanders and veteran-safe places that are pushing back the darkness in regards to veteran suicide. And this program has been brought to you by the Fire Watch, who is providing these trainings to individuals and businesses to recognize risk factors and warning signs for veterans who might be in crisis. And today we have a special guest, Ron Gamble from Veterans United Craft Brewery. Welcome, Ron.
Oh, thanks, Scott. I appreciate it and glad to be here.
So we are so excited to have you just to kind of share a little bit about Veterans United Brewery and the great things you are doing in our community, and the fact that you guys are a veteran safe place and that you've gone through that training that the Fire Watch has offered. But first, tell us a little bit about Veterans United Craft Brewery.
Okay, so my name is Ron Gamble. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran. I served 8 years active duty, 4 years in the reserve. I was a naval flight officer flying jets off of aircraft carriers. Every generation of my family has served as far back as the Spanish-American War. So being in the military and being a veteran has been something I've been very passionate about. And we started the brewery in 2013, opened for business in 2014. It's called Veterans United Craft Brewery. It's veterans coming together to share our passion for craft beer and also our experiences in service. So
excellent. Well, we are just thrilled that you had a chance to bring some beers to show off. And,
oh, definitely.
And, I know I've had a chance to experience it from this end as well. And we just love what you are doing in the community. Mm-hmm. What made it an easy jump for you and for Veterans United Craft Brewery to become a veteran safe place?
Okay, well, first of all, 80 or 85% of my employees are veterans, so we all have that shared common experience. And through the years, I've met some employees, some customers who have served, and also have had some issues after leaving service. So it is something that we've had to deal with in some of our employees, and this was something important. I felt if my employees, both the back end, those that brew, and those on the front end that manage the tap room, if they could, be aware of the signs of someone in distress, it would be great. Because, like I said, there's a lot of customers that come through our door, and when they have a beer and they sit down, they tend to share their experiences, and that's where I think we need to be a little bit more aware of as they share the experiences. Could this person be, of harm to themselves or others?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and it's so important to be ever so vigilant, especially for our heroes, mm-hmm. and even heroes need heroes, don't they?
They do. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about those maybe who haven't served our country in uniform, about some of those transitional issues that a veteran might deal with when they're taking on civilian life.
So when I got out in 95 from active duty, what I felt was you had this huge amount of responsibility on your shoulders when you were in service. And when you get out into the civilian world, that responsibility, it goes away, but you crave it. You want more and more responsibility. And I think a lot of folks, including myself, had a hard time transitioning because you feel like you're taking a step back. And I think that people need to understand that you may have to take that step back to get 2 steps ahead, because you've learned a lot in the military and a lot can be applied, but there's so much in the civilian world, whether it be marketing and finances and other things, that you need to relearn or you need to learn for the first time. So I think a lot of veterans get frustrated. They were NCOs or officers, and now suddenly they feel like I don't have that responsibility anymore. But they need to understand that it's fine. It's okay. You're now learning another career, and to be successful, you may need to take that step back. But again, you'll accelerate faster than maybe your peers would, mm-hmm. given your military experience. So don't get discouraged, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But you're going to have to learn a new job, a new career, and that's going to be tough.
Absolutely. So businesses like Veterans United Craft Brewery have a chance to provide that support, especially for those who might be struggling in a crisis. Mm-hmm. We know that veterans don't go into a crisis just for any one reason. It's usually much more complicated than that. There's a lot of things to navigate, including a new job and some new skill sets maybe that they're having to acquire. So what would be one thing that you would say to veterans, maybe veteran family members who would be struggling in this kind of crisis, maybe even wrestling with suicidal thoughts?
Yeah, I would say you're not alone. So that is the key takeaway. We've all gone through some element of stress. And so, you know, talk to your brothers and sisters out there who've served. We're here to help, even if it's just to lend an ear. But by being part of the Watchstander program, now we myself and some of my employees have now learned what they can do to take the next steps to get that person some help.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And the more businesses that come together and build that network of watchstanders and veteran safe places, the better our veterans will be who might be in crisis.
Correct.
So thank you so much for attending those trainings and really just promoting being a veteran safe place to our veterans and providing that network for them of support.
Oh, definitely. And one thing I would like to bring up, so in working with the Fire Watch and the Watchstander program with Nick, we've tried to raise awareness about the program. And one of the things we did last year was we brewed a beer for them, and we were able to get it out to market to various bars and restaurants on draft only. And what we did was to try to, to recruit for the Watchstander program, was we had these QR codes on the back. Well, it was good. It was successful. But this year we amped it up a little bit, and we wanted to get into more people's hands because not everyone goes out to bars and restaurants to drink. So what we did was this year we put it into 12-ounce cans, and every can has that same QR code on it that people are encouraged to scan it on their phone and then to learn more about the Watchstander program, or hopefully, register to go through the training. So it's just another way to get the word out to folks who may not hear about it at their work or in their personal circle, but maybe if they're at Publix or Winn-Dixie and they see that on the shelf, they'll, hey, well, that's kind of interesting beer. And as they start to read it and turn the can, I think I'll scan it. Tell me more about it. So. And it was so successful. We released this beer into the market. It's already, for the most part, gone through the channels. I believe the only place right now who's getting the last shipment in is Total Wine here in town. But it's one that we plan to continue and hopefully raise awareness in the months and years ahead through what we can do as a brewery. So
excellent. What a wonderful and creative way to get the message out. So fantastic. Putting it in the hands of those who might want to know more. Thank you again, Ron, for sharing what you guys are doing at Veterans United. And thank you again for joining us for a 5-minute salute. I do want to direct you to thefirewatch.org, where you or your organization can go through the Watchstander training. It's 30 to 45 minutes. It is free, and you will be equipped with some of the skill sets to recognize risk factors and warning signs for veterans who might be in crisis. And who knows, maybe as a veteran safe place, we'll be able to have you on this show as well and to provide an interview and celebrate what you are doing in the community. This is Scott Swanstrom with the Fire Watch, and we are putting on a very special event to show our appreciation to all of our watchstanders, our veterans, and our family members that are part of those communities. And so we would love to have you come out for our bonfire and barbecue at Hannah Park on May the 6th. Feel free to register at info@thefirewatch.org, and we would love to see you there.
I want to personally thank you for your interest in Florida's fight to end veteran suicide. I'm retired Marine Major General James S. Hammer Hartzell, and I'm currently serving as the Executive Director of the Florida Department of Veterans Affairs. Over 6,000 U.S. veterans take their own lives each year, including more than 500 right here in Florida. This tragedy covers all age groups, all demographics, and all services. Our nation is calling on individual states to accept the challenge of decreasing suicide rates among service members, veterans, and their families, and our great state of Florida has accepted this challenge. This national effort is named the Governor's Challenge to Prevent Suicide Among Service Members, Veterans, and Their Families. And every Floridian, veteran, non-veteran, is an important member of our state's team. That is why you are here. The Fire Watch is a Florida nonprofit founded on the belief that if we can help veterans find community resources they need before considering hurting themselves, then we can reduce, even potentially end, veteran suicide in Florida's communities. That's what the Watchstander Suicide Prevention Training Program is all about. Our Florida Governor's Challenge Task Force has partnered with the Fire Watch to make this training available to all Floridians. We are working to train 10,000 Florida community members like you, to stand vigilant to the concerns of our veterans and watch out for suicide risk red flags and to direct veterans to the help they need. Think of this program like learning CPR. By having more Floridians like you who are aware of the risk factors of veterans in crisis who are knowledgeable about how they can help, we will be well on our way to ending the national tragedy of veteran suicide. If you entered the Watchstander portal as a civilian, you'll watch the first video, 15 Things Every Veteran Wants You to Know. And then the second video, our cornerstone program called SAVE. If you join us as a currently serving military member or a veteran, you'll skip right to the SAVE video. The training takes just a few minutes, but it's very impactful. The SAVE video teaches us to identify veterans in crisis and to call 911 or the Veteran Crisis Lines in emergency. This is crucial to saving lives, but we'll also want to help veterans before they descend into crisis. That's why after SAVE video, we'll ask you to spend a few minutes glancing over some key resources that are currently available to help veterans. If you encounter a veteran who's not in a specific crisis, but just needs some help, you can direct them to the appropriate resource. Or if it seems just too much for you to personally navigate with the veteran, any veteran in Florida at any time can call 855-MY-FLORIDA-VET or call 211. And on those lines, a veteran can talk to an experienced attendant, generally veterans themselves, who are standing by 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to connect veterans to the resources they need. If this all sounds like a lot, don't worry. The Watchstander portal will guide you through it. At the end, you'll take a pledge to watch out for our Florida veterans, and you'll be able to download a Watchstander certificate. I personally have taken this training. I have a certificate. Additionally, if you provided your address at registration, the Fire Watch will send you a package with a branded wristband, a car sticker, and a wallet card. We then ask that you get out among our Florida veterans, attend veteran events safely, and stay vigilant to the concerns of our great Florida citizens who are American veteran heroes. Enjoy this awesome training, and along with all of our 1.5 million veterans and their families, I want to personally thank you for joining us in the fight to end veteran suicide in Florida. Together, we will end veteran suicide.
Greetings everyone, my name is Scott Swanstrom. I am your host of Veteran Safe Places, and today we have a very special guest, Nick Padlow from Soft Roast Recovery, and we're going to get a chance to just delve into his story a little bit more and what he's doing at Soft Roast Recovery and how they came into the family of Veteran Safe Places. Veteran Safe Places is a movement that has been initiated by the Fire Watch, which we are trying to reduce and ultimately to nix every veteran suicide. And we really want to provide life-giving support to them and just really celebrate their service to our country, because even heroes need heroes. But let me go ahead and turn the conversation over to Nick here. Nick, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Tell us a little bit about Soft Roast Recovery.
Yeah, so Soft Roast Recovery is a treatment center for addiction and mental health issues that was really started out of my own experience in recovery, which I think we'll get into a little bit later. But we exist as a place that's it's called intensive outpatient. So you're spending, either half a day or a full day with us over the course of 6 to 12 weeks in order to really start to address not only underlying addictions with drugs and alcohol, but also the reasons that we started using in the first place, and kind of building a toolkit that helps us to more effectively manage and work our way through life.
Excellent, very good. So you're wrestling a lot with co-occurring disorders, mental health challenges
Correct.
that a person might be navigating through at that time also. And you have a heart for veterans, and I understand that's part of why you wanted to become a veteran safe place.
Sure.
How did the core values of becoming a veteran safe place align with Soft Roast Recovery?
Yeah, so I'm an Army vet myself, and as I have over the years, I've noticed that not only do a lot of vets struggle with addiction and mental health, but personally, I have lost more friends to suicide than to IEDs. And that's a disaster.
Yeah.
And so we have to have places that can help folks navigate this, because frankly, we don't learn how to navigate it in the Army. We learn a lot, or in the military in general, we learn a lot of stuff, but we don't learn that. We don't learn how to navigate emotions.
Yeah. I know active duty learned to take on challenges that are beyond the scope of what your normal everyday civilian can tackle. And so when a veteran probably wrestles with mental health challenges, not knowing where to go, and the pride of thinking I should be able to take care of this is really daunting, I can imagine.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about your story. And you served our country in uniform, and you made that transition into civilian life. What were some of the challenges that you faced?
Yeah, so I was in from 2003 to 2008, a lot of time in Afghanistan and Iraq, and I think there are a few things that I faced and that other people face when they get out of the military. And one of them is this kind of, as you mentioned, this loss of core values. You know, you ask any military vet what the core values of their service branch are, and they can tell you: leadership, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage. That's the Army's. I'll never forget them. And then when you get out into the civilian world, it's almost like all those things are gone. And so we're wandering around aimlessly without this sense of mission and purpose for who we are. And I think that's the first thing, is really having to redefine that as a civilian. And then I think the second thing that people struggle with when they get out is this kind of return from a state of hypervigilance. So especially when we're in war, everything's turned up all the time. And then when we come back, it's not. And the dopamine and the serotonin, and our brains don't know what to do, and so they can react in funny ways. And then I think the third thing is we aren't taught how to navigate this type of issue. You know, and we're taught that it represents weakness. You know, if you think about being on a run with your squad or your platoon, like someone having a twisted ankle and falling out of a run is shameful. So we run through the pain, right? But we can't do that when it comes to mental health. It doesn't work. And you know, I when I try to give this analogy to veterans, one of the things I say is like, would you ever run away from an enemy in combat? Would you ever run away? And like the answer is no. Like, of course not. I'd never run away. It's like, well, why are you running away from this one?
Yeah.
And frankly, it's probably the most difficult battle a lot of us will ever face in our life. And the only way out, what we say in treatment, the only way out is through. And so you've got to fight it head on, and you've got to address it. And a lot of times, you know, you need help to do that. And you know, that's what we exist for, is a place where we can help people navigate through some of those difficult challenges.
So Nick, what would you say to a veteran who is struggling with a mental health challenge or even a substance use challenge, and how would you give them hope?
Yeah, it's a good question, because that's what we lose when we get there, right?
Yeah.
We don't have any hope. We don't think there's any way out. But there is a way out. And so many of us have found that way out, right? And it's okay to admit that you need help to find that. And there are organizations that specialize in people that like specialize in giving you the tools to navigate your way back to who you were, and potentially someone like fresh and new that's even better than that. And so, you know, at Sophros, we've seen a number of veterans come in and then come out the other side and be a completely different person. And so it's possible. Yeah. It's very possible, and it's very attainable. But it takes work.
Yeah,
it takes a lot of work.
There's a lot of hope in the presence of Sophros Recovery and the support that you guys provide. And even the fact that you guys have become a veteran safe place for them shows that there is a desire to give back as a community provider, and that you do have a passion and a heart for veterans. And most importantly, you show camaraderie and brotherhood, that you link arms with veterans who are really struggling, and that they don't have to go it alone. And so we really appreciate Sophros Recovery being a part of the Veteran Safe Place, and really appreciate you being here and having a chance to celebrate what you guys are doing in the community and how you're giving back. Our veterans are a special resource to our country, to our communities. They bring so many great traits and leadership qualities to our organizations and businesses. So Nick, thank you so much on behalf of the Fire Watch.
Yeah, thanks, Guy. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now, if you are interested in your organization or business becoming a veteran safe place, we want to direct you to thefirewatch.org. You can find out more information about how to become a veteran safe place advice. It's really just a 45-minute training opportunity that you can take online, and your employees can become watchstanders and really be available for those who have already sacrificed the ultimate sacrifice for their country by giving up their lives. And we can really support them and just provide the resources and empowerment to help navigate difficult thoughts and situations, especially when it comes to suicide. So thank you again. This is Scott Swanstrom with the Fire Watch, and we are putting on a very special event to show our appreciation to all of our watchstanders, our veterans, and our family members that are part of those communities. And so we would love to have you come out for our bonfire and barbecue at Hannah Park on May the 6th. Feel free to register at info@thefirewatch.org, and we would love to see you there.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of 5 Minute Salute, a program sponsored by the Fire Watch and focused on the great things that veterans are doing here in our community in Northeast Florida. I'm Nick Howland, your host, and also Executive Director of the Fire Watch, and I'm thrilled by this episode. We have a good friend of mine, Senior Chief Sean Stahl, the Director of Training at Operation New Uniform. Sean, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Nick. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about Operation New Uniform.
So what we are is we try to help veterans transition over when they get out. It's a struggle.
Yep.
So we're trying to minimize that struggle as much as possible.
Yep.
We offer a free course to veterans to help them try to find their way in that civilian business world.
Yep.
And how to find that next career, not a job, but a career. We want them to succeed.
So fundamentally important. We know that veterans are most at risk of suicide in the first year following the transition out of the service and their first year as a veteran. So how many of your students at Operation New Uniform are early in that transition?
Most of them are within 6 months of either getting out or have, just trying to figure out their way and realizing that it's a struggle. So we're trying to get to them earlier to hopefully avoid that piece you're talking about, because it is a struggle.
Yeah, and Operation New Uniform is one of my favorite veteran serving organizations. I mean, I know the whole team there. I know the great work that you do. I even know many of your graduates, including the Fire Watch. We hired one very recently as our new program manager, Derek Collins. Yeah. So what separates the service that Operation New Uniform provides over things like TAPS, the transition assistance program that people get when they get out, or other career helping service organizations for veterans?
So what we try to do is focus on the veteran themselves.
Yeah.
Not a lot of veterans that go to get out try to think, I have to do what I did in the military.
Yes.
Whatever my MOS, my NEC was, whatever that was.
Yeah.
I have to do that.
Right.
We try to help them. No, you don't. You still have value out there. That uniform comes off. You've got some value still.
Yep.
And hey, let's figure out what you get a chance now to design your life.
Yeah.
How do you want that to work? How do you want that to look? Let's figure out what that career, what that path is going to be. Let's make you be successful. Let's get you hired somewhere.
An amazing service for veterans, not only here in Northeast Florida, but you're now handling or dealing with transitioning service members all over the country.
Correct. We primarily focused here in Florida, as you mentioned, but we have students nationwide. We offer a virtual component too, so it's great. We've had students as far away as Washington State, upstate New York, so it's been great.
So Sean, you are the Director of Training, but your career in the Navy was a Master at Arms. So Senior Chief, Master at Arms. Tell us about your Navy career.
So as you mentioned, Senior Chief, Master at Arms in security.
Yeah.
Trained dogs, ran dogs a lot of times. But I always had a passion for training and teaching.
Yeah.
And learning, either it was helping a handler trying to figure out their dogs.
Okay.
Or as you progress up the ranks, just training in the anti-terrorism, force protection drills and those kind of exercises and those kind of things. So I always had a passion to do it.
Yeah.
It took me, actually, I'm an ONU alumni. It took me to come to ONU to try to figure out kind of where my niche actually was. Okay,
well, that leads to my next question. So what were your challenges after you retired from the Navy to get you where you are now? Obviously, you looked at ONU as a resource for you, took advantage of that. You were in one of the class, you graduated, now you're back teaching the class. But what were some of those challenges and struggles for you when you retired?
So as I went to get out, I heard, you have no problem finding a job, no problem. You have all these skills and experience and good to go, no problem.
Yeah.
That wasn't quite the case. What I discovered is that Senior Chief Stahl had done a zillion things in the world. He had been successful. I have awards to prove it.
Yeah.
But Sean, who the new person I was becoming, hasn't really done anything.
Yeah.
And that was what I was struggling to find. And I was kept, for lack of proverbial, banging my head against the wall, trying to find my niche in life, trying to figure out where it was.
Right.
Finally agreed or wanted to come to ONU, or finally got convinced to go, I guess it was. Because you struggle. Vets are hard-headed, right?
Absolutely.
Go to this class. I'm like, no. And then once I finally went, I was like, there it is.
Yeah.
Now the world's opened up to me, and it helped me out a lot.
That's amazing. Well, you guys are doing amazing work. Thank you for what you're doing. Thanks to Michelle McManaman for founding it, and Kim Bynum for, running the organization along with you. It's a tremendous organization. It's a tremendous resource for veterans. And I would say at the Firewatch, we're all about training the community to recognize the warning signs in veterans when they're struggling, and career transition is one of the top areas where they struggle. And then asking our folks who've taken our Watchstander training to help get veterans to the resources they need. Operation New Uniform is one of them that is most commonly referred to, particularly for veterans who are transitioning out of active duty. So Operation New Uniform is such a great resource in our community, and thank you.
That, yeah.
How can people find out more about ONU?
So we have a Facebook page, Instagram, we have our website. It's all ONU, just our initials, vets.
Yep.
The website is onuvets.org. Google search it. We're on LinkedIn pages. I'm all out and about as well. So any of us, we all a smaller staff, but we all have passion to just help and succeed in the community, and just help every veteran we can.
onuvets.org.
Yes, sir.
Sean, thank you very much for being on the show.
Yeah, greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks again for joining us on another episode of 5 Minute Salute. That was Sean Stahl from Operation New Uniform. I'm Nick Howland, the host and also the executive director of the Firewatch. The Firewatch is Florida's fight to end veteran suicide, and there's a role for everybody. Visit thefirewatch.org and learn how you can help. Thank you.
This is Scott Swanstrom with the Firewatch, and we are putting on a very special event to show our appreciation to all of our watchstanders, our veterans, and our family members that are part of those communities. And so we would love to have you come out for our bonfire and barbecue at Hanna Park on May the 6th. Feel free to register at info@thefirewatch.org, and we would love to see you there.
Thanks again for joining us on another episode of Veterans United. The Firewatch is Northeast Florida's fight to end veteran suicide. There's a role for everybody. Join us as a watchstander. Visit thefirewatch.org and learn to identify the risk signs of veterans in crisis, how to ask veterans if they need help, and how to get veterans the help they need. Together, we will end veteran suicide.